Hey, it's Tim Derling. Welcome to another edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Today, one of my favorite Canadian bands, one of my favorite bands, period. I'm wearing a shirt, April Wine. They have a lot of vinyl. I have a lot of their vinyl. In fact, I'm only missing one as far as I know. And there are some variations between Canadian and US versions, so let's get started with looking through April Wine vinyl on Tim's Vinyl Confessions. This has got to be one of the ugliest album covers I think I've ever seen, unfortunately. This is the first April Wine album, came out in 1971. They haven't got their logo in place, not for a long time. Here's the back cover. This is the band as it was back then. The song titles, band members, some credits. Aquarius Records, very early Aquarius Records logo there. There's a 7-Up logo. This is the cool thing about old vinyl now. You'd probably have to pay big bucks to pose in front of a 7-Up sign. I have to do this. It's a shameless plug, but I'm sorry I have to do it. Down here, it says Miles Goodwin, vocals, guitar, born in Woodstock, New Brunswick, not the other one. Woodstock, New Brunswick is my hometown as well. I'm not one of those people that will go around saying that I knew someone that went to school with Miles, because I know he didn't grow up in Woodstock. He was just born there. Have to mention it though. I don't know if this is an original pressing or not, but it's just a clear plastic sleeve for this one. The early 70s Aquarius logo. Now right away, with their second album, we get into some variations, but let's look at the Canadian edition of the second April Wine album first. This is one you've probably seen a lot. April Wine, on record. A pun, of course. There's the band members pictured. That's the actual record label on the top of the album cover. And of course, there's side 2. Well, it's a little bit dusty. So much for plastic sleeves. It's a simple concept, but it works. You know, if you don't know what to put on the album, put the album on the album. And Aquarius, actually, they made this one a gatefold. Very, very minimal credits here. Pictures of the band. Down at the bottom here it says dedicated to Harrison Tabb. The little details. And we'll look at the inside as well. As I like to say, most of my records are bought used. The distinct majority of them are, so I don't know if I'm missing anything from this, but here's the actual record, to On Record. Same logo as the first album. Now, April Wine's first album did not come out in the US. It was not released in the US. Their first album was actually the second album, but they just self-titled it. So, this is On Record. This is the US version. It's on Big Tree Records. Big Tree were distributed by Atlantic Records, and they picked up a few albums here and there. I think they only did 2 April Wine records, this one and also Stand Back, which is coming up later. That's the Big Tree logo. So these are the pictures that are inside of the Canadian edition, and here they are front and center. So this is just self-titled. There's no other title on this, but it is the same record. It's On Record. Now this one actually is before Big Tree was distributed by Atlantic. This says it's exclusively distributed by Bell Records, a division of Columbia Pictures Industries. We're getting back into record labels that either don't exist, didn't exist much after that, or they morphed into other labels. Clear paper sleeve, and here's the Big Tree version of On Record with the Big Tree logo. This logo changed over the years, but this is what this copy looks like. So not all of April Wine's records were released in the US. That one was. As far as early April Wine albums go, a lot of fans like this one. This came out in 1973. Electric Jewels, another on Aquarius, of course. Front cover there. Back cover. There's a sad story behind this back cover. You see here this man in the alley with a bottle, And down at the end, there's a little boy and a dog. That was actually the man's son who'd been looking for his father. It was completely captured on film by accident. And there's the guitar. Song titles, very fancy calligraphy written out here, and some credits. And this one, we'll look at this first. This is paper sleeve, and the record, the Aquarius logo, regular Aquarius logo. This also comes with this one panel sleeve here. It says Electric Jewels, and here are the lyrics to all the songs on Electric Jewels. Moving on. (1974) April Wine Live. Sometimes this album is referred to Live Play Loud. And if you ever heard it, you'd know why. Turn down the bass on this one. Okay, the back cover, various shots of the group and their disco ball. Song titles, band members, credits, Aquarius logo, the Aquarius logo as it was. This is taped up. Some of my older April Wine albums, the copies I got are in pretty rough shape. Now, I don't know if this is an original sleeve or not. It's a light blue color. Could have been. Another reason this is called Live Play Loud, it says so right here on the label. April Wine Live Play Loud. This vinyl here is actually in really good shape. If I'm sweating, it's because it's exceptionally humid as I'm filming this today. I'm glistening. This is a very, very popular April Wine album. You've probably seen this one quite a lot. This is Stand Back. This came out in 1975. It's the band members standing behind a cannon. Still, they don't have their patented logo at this point. This is the other album that was released in the US on Big Tree Records, but I don't have the Big Tree Records version of it. Here's the back cover. Foreground, the band standing. Back is them on stage. Song titles and credits. This is a gatefold. Some more pictures of the band. By the way, I'm aware that some of these videos have a glare on them. That's why I'm trying to tilt the records differently. White sleeve. Somewhere here. There's an end. There it is. Same Aquarius logo for this one. Next, 1976, the next April Wine album, The Whole World's Going Crazy. Ain't that the truth? It's a Mad Hatter character dangling a little globe or earth on this chain. This is actually embossed, so it's raised from the rest of the album. Back cover, just the song titles. By now, Aquarius had changed their logo. They used this logo here for a long time. This is not a gatefold. It does have some interesting things inside of it. This sleeve here, some credits, a couple of the band members, the other band members, more credits. This is a hard cardboard. It's not a paper sleeve. This is a customized logo. This has the Aquarius Records logo, as they would use it for the rest of the 70s and well into the 80s, but this also has a top hat on it with a pair of hands coming out of it based on the Mad Hatter from the front cover. Also has clear sleeve, or a single sleeve with the lyrics to the songs. And this one says, the April Wine Collection, shouldn't they be part of your collection? So it's an advertisement for all of the April Wine albums that have come up to this point, and it's like a couple of thieves taking them from an art gallery. There's like a sleeping security guard there. I've seen this before, but this is one that I have, the one record I have it in. As you can tell, April Wine, very, very prolific band. If you got into the band in the late 70s, if you were in the States, you may have thought they were a new band, but extremely prolific. 1977, this is originally intended to be a solo album for Miles Goodman, but it ended up at the last minute being an April Wine album. Forever, For Now. Something I don't notice on the cassette or the CD is that there's actually a little squiggly dash between Forever and For Now. Interesting logo. They still haven't gotten to the logo they would become famous for. Pictures of the band on stage, song titles, band members, special thanks, more credits there. Compared to some of my other April Wine albums, this one is actually in very, very good shape. Lyrics, more pictures, same thing. The rest of the lyrics, more pictures. Standard Aquarius logo by this point, although April Wine is written in a slightly different font. It's not really the logo they use on the front cover either, I don't think. So it's interesting that they put a different one on there just for the vinyl itself. Also in 1977, another album. Must have been great being a classic rock fan, or well, you didn't know it was classic back then, but you never had to wait too long for albums from the bands you liked. This is April Wine live at the El Macombo, which is a famous rock club in Toronto. The story behind this, they were masquerading. They were actually the opening band for the Rolling Stones, who were doing some small club gigs. They recorded a live album the same night this was recorded, it's my understanding. So that's a drawing of the band here. Palm trees in the background. On the back, song titles. This album came out also in the States on London Records. I don't have that version of it, but a couple of the songs are different. There's a write-up here from Larry Wilson of Chum FM in Toronto talking about April Wine opening for the Stones. And down here, this is a handwritten note, supposedly from the Rolling Stones. It says, "To April Wine, thanks for helping us out this week, and the best of luck tonight. With love, the Rolling Stones." That's pretty cool. So, interesting, for a live album, they've got the lyrics to all the songs here. And a few spare drawings here. So now let's get to the vinyl itself. Plain white sleeve, standard Aquarius logo. (1978), next April Wine album. First Glance. If you were a US fan, you might think that album cover looks different, but you probably already know. There are two different album covers for this, and I'll explain why that is. Back cover. Song titles are kind of in neon hot pink, because you can't go wrong with neon hot pink. I like this. I've seen t-shirts that have this design on it. The classic lineup of April Wine, intact at this point. Oh, all the lineups have been great. Oh, here we go. This is probably the best known photo of April Wine. They've used this on countless albums and compilations. Lyrics to the songs, credits, band members, rest of the lyrics. And here's the record, just a standard Aquarius issue. That was the Canadian edition of First Glance. This is the US edition of First Glance. This is April Wine's first big album internationally. This is on Capitol Records. They signed a deal with Capitol Records. And here we have that same picture that was on the inner sleeve of the Canadian edition. And now, one of my favorite rock logos of all time. The logo's in place at this point. Back cover, song titles. Let's see what's inside this. Same thing as a Canadian edition. Picture, lyrics, the credits. And here we have the purple Capitol Records logo that was used a lot at the time. this. Now that cover photo would be used again in Canada on this. April Wine's Greatest Hits. This came out in Canada, it didn't come out anywhere else, in 1979, and they reused that photo of the band. Back cover, song titles, inner sleeve. This features all of April Wine's albums up to this point. It's taped up. The rest of the albums. And the record itself. Next up, many a fan's favorite April Wine album, Harder, Faster. This came out in late 1979. Some discographies listed as coming out in 1980, and it may have, but on the actual album it says 1979. Very popular album for them. This did quite well. This is the US Capitol Records version. No difference in the cover art at this point. Picture of the band, song titles, logo. Always get a kick out of this shot. Miles jumping up in the air. Band members are listed here. More pictures, more credits, and usual purple Capitol Records logo used here. The biggest April Wine album, the most successful April Wine album, came out in 1981, The Nature of the Beast. Very popular album. This is a US version, Capitol Records. It's actually a Columbia House mail order version of it, and you can't really tell that except for the small print written down in the back. Obviously the band were based out of Montreal now, as you can see by Miles' shirt. Song titles. I like the font they used for the song titles there. It's the credits. Half of the lyrics, rest of the lyrics. This is interesting. For Columbia House issues, they reverted to an older Capitol Records logo. This is a 70s logo. I've seen Steve Miller records and Bob Seger records and Sammy Hagar records that had this red Capitol logo, Capitol down at the bottom. That's what they used for that. Another Canadian-only release from Aquarius came out after The Nature of the Beast. The Best of April Wine Rock Ballads. With a picture of the band on stage. Song titles. This is a gatefold. It's actually it's not exactly a gatefold, it's more of a bookfold. We're missing a band member. Oh, I get it. Miles is on the front and the rest of the band. Gotcha. This has a similar insert that's inside the Greatest Hits album with all of their albums on it. Obviously there are a couple more since then, including the Greatest Hits album. It's the record itself. Still using that Aquarius logo. (1982) Power Play. This is a US edition on Capitol Records. Photo of a kid playing a stand-up arcade game. Band's on stage. That cover. This is actually the Power Play tour shirt. I bought this at an April Wine gig in '94, but this is the '82 tour shirt based on this graphic here of the guitar. I really like that with the pickups and the strings. There's the song titles and band members there. Song titles and credits, band members listed. Another picture, it's the band on stage. Back to the purple Capitol Records logo now for this. (1984), the next April Wine album, Animal Grace. This is the Canadian Aquarius Records version. It says Animal Grace written down the bottom. They curiously don't use their logo on this one. I like this design here of this dog, I guess it is. But I like this album cover a lot. Colors continue onto the back. Song titles. Again, different logo, but it's got this line through it too. Band members. Animal Grace, the combination of brute strength, courage, and pride. Bold, yet cautious, and always with inherent, undeniable grace. Here are the lyrics and the credits down at the bottom. And Aquarius Records logo. And from this album, I'll show you a picture sleeve single. This is a great song. This could be the right one. Same as the front cover art. Same thing on both sides. This is a Canadian version, so it's on Aquarius. This single is unique. There aren't a lot of April Wine B-sides, but there are a few. This one has a great song on it called I Really Don't Want Your Love that didn't make the album, and unfortunately I don't think has seen a proper CD release. I'd like to see that, a good copy of that. 1985, the band released a live album called One for the Road. I've only seen it a handful of times. I haven't been able to find a vinyl copy of it yet. And the last April Wine vinyl I have to show you, I believe, is the last April Wine vinyl released, the last album released. I think there were a couple of singles, but I could be wrong about that. You can comment if you've seen any later April Wine albums on vinyl. I don't think there are. This is Walking Through Fire. This came out in 1985. Different logo. This is Walking Through Fire there. A shot of a Les Paul. Can't go wrong with a shot of a Les Paul. There's Miles with a Les Paul. Song titles. Credits. I like how they go kind of jagged down the edge here. This it has an Aquarius logo on it. This is the American version. It's on Capitol Records. It has a Capitol Records serial number. This inner sleeve. And all the lyrics. And by now the Capitol logo had changed to this different colors here, just a black background with a silver logo, and that's what was used in Walking Through Fire. April Wine still tour relentlessly in North America. If you get a chance to see them live, they're fantastic in concert. If you want to look them up online, it's aprilwine.ca. My name's Tim Derling, and this has been Tim's Vinyl Confessions, looking at the vinyl of April Wine. Feel free to check out some of the other shows I've done, and thank you so much for watching.